equals 9. Now, 9 is the humanitarian number as a rule. It represents people who are global, universal, international, motivational, inspirational. 9 is also governed by the planet of Mars, which is the war planet. And don't and see what people don't realize, the year coming up of 2025 actually started around late September, October. That's when the wars increased with Ukraine and Russia, the wars in the Middle East. So all these things are taking place. And so to the negative, this is a warlike kind of year coming up. And what it simply means, since 9 rules: wars, knives, guns, explosions, confrontations, arguments. It's in people's best interest to weigh the consequences of their actions. So for example, you two guys trying to get one parking space, one gets to get all excited, pull out, draw a firearm, shoot the person, so that person may go to the hospital or become unalive, as the term is used. And then the person that got the parking space, so guess who don't get the parking space? Guess who don't go home that evening? So it's really, really a matter of decisions we make. So don't let people pull you into any kind of arguments or confrontations, but to kind of be at peace, to take the higher side to the 9, to be the humanitarian. So if there's a fender bender on the highway, you get out, listen, is everybody okay? The insurance is going to take care of the rest. That's why we got car insurance, okay? But to get into confrontations and arguments where one may not go home that evening to their family, and then the person that's in jail behind it, the question is it worth it? It would be, pardon my French, hell to the no, you know? So these are the things that are important. But what we should do is inspire each other, motivate each other, encourage each other to do things. The signs that are likely to do well this particular year, in particular for 2025, are Aries, Scorpions, also those under the signs of Leo, and especially those born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. It means be very, very mindful about what you do. It is also the cycle of completion. So you know how you have things holding on for the longest. So if you need to get rid of something, terminate something, this is the time to do it. It is also a cycle to manifest what you want. You know how sometimes we're so busy, 19 keys, that we put things on hold, right? And so what happens this year says we bring those things that we put on hold front and center. So that's the manifestation part. But most people always think of 9 as completion, so ending, which is true. But it is also dreams fulfilled. It is also a cycle indicating long distance trip, traveling from here to there, New York to California, or somewhere out the country, whatever the case is, because it is international, it is global, it is universal, but more importantly, it is humanitarian. So these wars we're getting into is to the negative. And I explained about 2 years before that the period of 2024 and 2025 will be very challenging to this country, because 8s and 9s are two of the opposition numbers to the United States. And that's how I see it. But at any rate, we all have what is called a personal year. How do I determine that? That's very simple. What I do is I take the person's month and date of birth and add to it the year in question. So if you see, I got, let's see. Yeah, there we go. So if you see it, it's September, May the 4th, and I added inside of the year 2025. That adds up to a 9. Well, here's what's interesting about this particular birthday. Not only is it a 9 universal year, this particular person is also in a 9 personal year. So that means that this birthday is always in harmony with the lockstep of the universe. So let's say if we took another person, May the 11th, okay? So this person, if you add the month and day and then the year you want to know about, they happen to be in a 7 personal year. So they're going to be going into a year where they're going to be doing a lot of soul searching. They're going to be looking for answers. They're going to be going down the rabbit hole of life. And it also governs the law of attraction, that whatever they think will be drawn to them. So let's say in theory, this person's walking around saying, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. The source will make sure they don't have a penny. But if they think in terms of abundance, as many times in your discussions, you talk about the power of the mind and what we think. Well, in a person in the seventh cycle will definitely find it would be to their best interest to monitor their thinking, think very carefully, think prosperity, think success, think about all the things that they wish to make come true. And so what I can do is I will take all the zodiac signs and the dates of birth so we don't miss anybody, if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 for
all right.
sure.
So what I do is I did this. Now in astrology, people look at their sun sign. So for example, you are a Taurus.
Yes, sir.
However, somebody's moon, which means the way they think, may be in the sign of Taurus, or their ascendant or rising sign, which simply means visually the way they appear to people, could be in the sign of Taurus. So I've touched all the bases because some people say, well, I read my ascendant. Some says I read my moon. Some says I read my sun sign, of course. So I'm going to touch all the bases, including the numbers. So we'll start with Aries. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Aries, or if you're born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th. So we're encompassing everything. The theme for all Aries and people born on a 9 date this year is about completion, to wrap things up, to put things aside that is no longer to their benefit. Toxic thoughts, toxic people, unproductive situations, and begin to let that go. They will find that if they focus on that, they will put themselves in a better position to make their fondest dreams come true, whatever those dreams may be. They're all individually pursued. Some may want better life in terms of their career or relationship or finances or health or whatever the case is, but they will find it to their advantage, that's for sure. They'll find that money wise, the money months for Aries this particular year will be in January, May, June, August, and the month of October more than any other time. As for relationships, they will find that the months of February and June, August, and November being equally as important in terms of matters of love or relationships or things of that nature. Now, as for travel, they will find that the months of January, May, July, followed by September and October would be the best time for them to do some traveling if that is the case. As matters of health, April followed by June and September would be more challenging. And don't forget, with nines, they don't get sick. They are more subject to injuries, accidents. So therefore, I always advise Aries and Scorpios, in that case, the number nine people, to be very careful if they're handling firearm or knives or sharp instruments and things like that. To be very, very careful because it's more of an accident prone type of situation. For the Tauruses in the audience, if their sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Taurus, or if they're born on a date that adds up to the 6th, the 15th, the 24th, the theme for them this year is about family. What do I mean? To handle your responsibilities, to walk the walk as you talk the talk. You know, there's this saying, as we all know, talk is cheap. Well, with Tauruses, this would be a good time for them to follow through. A lot of Tauruses are going to be going back to school. A lot of Tauruses are going to be elevating themselves. They're going to be a work in progress, so to speak, always improving. Their best thing for them to do is handle all their duties, responsibilities, and obligations. They're also going to be making adjustments. And here's the interesting thing about Tauruses and number 6 this year, too. Let's say you entered into an agreement, but the party or parties concerned didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Mm-hmm.
The law of compensation is going to kick in and make up for it.
Come
Okay.
on, need
So
that.
that's what they can look for sure. As far as money matters are concerned, they can expect February, April, August, September, and November to be the primary financial months. And when I say these months, if for a Taurus example, in February, they might get a raise or promotion or a bonus, or they may step out on faith. But these will be the financial months for all Tauruses, again, being February, April, August, September, and November. As far as relationships are concerned, February is definitely a key. May, September, as well as November would be the relationship months. So let's say a person wants to travel. Well, they will find that the months of January and March, April, August, and October will be prime time for them. And matters of health, just be a little bit mindful. Go for routine checkup or whatever the case is on during the months of March and July, followed by September and the month of December. So now what happens if a person is born, if their sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Gemini, or if they're born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month. Well, for them, the the cycle or the theme for them is about dramatic changes, change for the better. For Gemini's and number five people for 2025, it's like going down the highway, you come off the exit, and when you come off the exit and come to the stop sign or the traffic light, normally there's signs going in different directions. So for some Gemini's and number five, should they go left? Should they go right? Should they keep forward or should they go back? But this is going to be a year for them to take advantage of any and all opportunities that come their way. I tell people in a relationship with Geminis and fives coming up for 2025, the secret to holding on to them, believe it or not, is to let them go. At first, it's cute, like, honey, where you going? Why you going there? When you coming back? But believe me, if you do that often, they're going to go out, as they used to say, the elders say, go out for a pack of cigarettes and never come back home. Okay, that's what the elders used to do. They just disappear. So, as far as the career aspects for Geminis, they can expect March and May, September, and October, along with December, to be the primary months where they make their moves financially, economically, whatever the case may be. As far as relationships, January kicks off the year doing that, followed by March, June, October, and December as well. And since Geminis love to travel, they've got 5 travel months in store, which is in February, April, May, followed by September and November. Health wise, since five rules the nerves and things of that nature, just be a little mindful opening up the months of January, followed by April, August, and the month of October. So let's say your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Cancer, or if you're born on the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th or the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month. The theme for all cancers and people born under those dates is about relationships. Now, oftentimes, 19,
Mm-hmm.
people think it means boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, but it means relationships on all levels. When we're born, we have our first relationship with our mom, then our dads, then brothers and sisters, then nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles, grandparents, then childhood friends in elementary, high school, college, then boyfriend, girlfriend, then bosses. So we're always in a world of relationships, but people think relationship means just boyfriend, girlfriend, but I'm talking about relationships on all levels. And it simply means to form bonds where possible, to make sure that you're in lockstep, especially with people heading in the same way with you. It's nice to be in a relationship, but are they on the same page with you? Are they heading in the same direction with you? Especially if you have a Cancer that's got goals and dreams and aspirations. You don't deal with another person that's going in the opposite way in that sense, because it makes for not the best relationship in the world. But financially, they will find that the months of March and April, followed by June, August, and December, are going to be very beneficial for them as a rule. And as far as relationships are concerned, well, April, June, and September should be exactly what they are looking for. But because there's a need to travel, they'll find that the months of March and May, July, August, and December will be ideal for them to make moves, long trips, short trips, going someplace where there's the sand, the sea, and the sun. And finally, health matters. It means February and April, followed by August and November. And when I say that, it's not bad in that sense. It just means this is when you just go get a general checkup or whatever the case is. What about Leos? Well, if your sun or your moon or your ascendant is in the sign of Leo, or you're born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month, the theme for all Leos this month is about independence. Ain't don't nobody like to be independent more than a Leo, trust me. And so this will allow them to stand on their own. And here's the irony for all Leos are number one or four persons on those dates. Let's say there happen to be 19 keys in a codependent relationship with somebody. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this particular year says that if they are, circumstances will force them to stand on their own. Okay, whereby they're going to have to figure out that everybody, as much as they like to help, they've got to learn how to help themselves first before they help anybody else. But it's going to allow them to express their individuality, to be more inventive and pioneering and visionary in their actions and deeds and things of that nature. So it's going to be a very productive time for them. Money wise, the months of April and May, July and September are the months that should fit the bill to their satisfaction. As far as relationships, January, May, July, and October will be equally as rewarding for them on a personal level, too. And in matters of health, they can expect April and June to kind of be a little iffy or up in the air, followed by August and September. But for health concerns, they will find more the months of March and May, August and December, because December is normally an opposition period to Gemini anyway, where they're likely to be at their lowest points. Now, what about a Virgo? If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Virgo, or if you're born on the 5th, the 14th, the 23rd of the month, that simply means the theme for you this year is about public activities. That means to normally Virgos are kind of reserved. They normally like to stay at home. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, Virgos like to analyze, and therefore they like to analyze from the inside looking outside. But for all Virgos, they need to increase their outgoing activities, to go out, to mix and mingle with the crowd, to go to social events and things like that, to take advantage of any and all opportunities that come their way, because that's what's going to be happening for them this year. There are going to be some major and important changes that come along too if they're out and about. For example, opportunities don't know you're in your house. Opportunities don't come and knock on your door. You got to go out there and beat the bushes. And that's the kind of year that Virgos will experience for those that are not afraid to kind of like go out of their comfort zone and begin to expand their world. They will find that money wise, the months of March and May, followed by September, October, and December will be their financial blessings if they know how to take advantage of it. Relationship wise, although Virgos are very selective and discriminating, they'll find that January and March and June, followed by October and December, equally as important as developing relationships, whether it's about a makeup or about a breakup, all depending on how things are. And let's say you're about to travel. Well, you'll find that February, they'll find that April is going to be very important, especially where they go somewhere with this, the sand, the sea, and the sun. They're going to find May equally as important, as well as September and the month of November. Health wise, since Virgo is the health sign anyway, they should attend to their health concerns or general checkup at the very beginning of the year of January, followed by April, followed by August, followed by the month of October. All righty. So, what about Librans? All right. For Librans, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Libra, or if you're born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month, the theme for you is about duty and responsibility. You know, Libra is one of the signs of beauty. They like nice things, they like nice clothes, they like nice food and whatnot, but they also have to handle their responsibilities if given to them. So for all Librans, the rule of thumb this year is don't say something that you can't keep. Don't promise somebody. Don't commit yourself and just say, well, I've changed my mind. I don't feel like it. Follow through, because the theme for you this particular year is about handling your responsibilities and being dutiful. And when asked to do something, they will find that financially the months of February, followed by April, August, September, and November being the most important time for them to make their financial moves or ask for that raise or that well-deserved promotion, or maybe step out on faith. Who knows? As far as relationships are concerned, they'll find that February, May, September, and November will be the more ideal months for making up, breaking up, or whatever they feel. But it's a good time to really mend fences if possible, where possible, depending on the circumstances that led to it. As far as travel is concerned, you can expect that in January, March, April, followed by August and October and the month of December. So actually, with Libyans, they have 6 months this year, half the year, 50% will allow them some type of travel. Now, if they don't physically travel, you mentally. You know how sometimes you bored at a job and your mind is everywhere else except in that building? Well,
Yeah.
don't forget, people travel mentally too.
There's
See,
been a lot of conversations around astral traveling and projection and being able to go places. It's funny because we're entering into a very quantum world.
yep, yep,
CIA released a report today, I believe, about how in the 1970s, 70s or 80s when they had a certain program that they had people traveling to Mars. You know, what I mean, not physically, of course, but mentally. And then
Mm-hmm.
we having all these conversations around orbs in the sky, which are more so mental ways to travel in these spheres of time. At least that's the way I heard it break down by Mother Tanetta before, who was one of the chief decoders of the number 19. You know what I mean? So upon my journey of the number and things of that nature, it would be understanding the significance of observing the number, right? The same
Mm-hmm.
way that we read in the alphabet, we understand that language, but numbers are symbols. So those symbols guide us into synchronicity, but symbols also represent frequencies, right? Because a
They are.
number is a
Yes, they
count
are.
of frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before you can speak a language of another man, y'all speak numbers, right? How many? One, two. That is emotion. That is a frequency. One, two, three. That is another frequency. And those frequencies can be paired to music. That music creates certain frequencies. If you can't enunciate or speak certain frequencies, there are certain worlds that you just blocked off to in life, right?
That
The
is true.
ability
Very
to
true.
enunciate the frequency yes or no, right? To you, if you speak in most languages, no is no, regardless.
Right. Exactly. That's
That's
universal. No.
it's a no, right? It is a certain sound pairing, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
to give people just that in the layman's terms, as we kind of look at numerology, and to me, in the most practical way, is the observation of frequencies, right, and patterns. And the whole entire universe is ran off frequencies and patterns, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then it's the understanding of what that frequency and pattern means. Then that is going into ology, right? In Greek, meaning the knowledge of. So, as we talk about
So,
numerology, the
yep.
knowledge of numbers goes into the knowledge of understanding the universal frequencies, which is the patterns that we see all around us. And
Mm-hmm.
so two men can speak different languages, but they can both speak the mathematical language of numbers, because I can describe an atom by a mathematical data and you would understand that. I
Yeah.
can describe the distance between one planet and another and you would understand that. I can describe mathematically the composition of frequencies that make up a music, right? And I would never have to speak your language, but you would understand that.
Standard.
So
Exactly.
it's the same thing when we talk in the language of the universe, it's mathematical. So men may speak multiple languages all across the world, but mathematical language is one that is universal, the same way music is universal as far as the way it unifies us and the way that we feel and how we emote from that as well. And the universe does not respond to your goals, it responds to your frequency. So understanding the number that matches the frequency, right, is how you get to have a higher level of observation. This is why the elites understand this. They put and do certain things by the numbers. They do everything by the numbers.
Yeah.
Nothing is emotional. Everything is by the numbers. So when you understand the practical application of that, then you start to observe at a higher level and stop allowing them to put the words in front of you and understand the numbers behind it. That's when you have the golden key to the universe.
Well, that's not only true because, and in fact, what happens is when I met Minister Louis Farrakhan on several occasions, he says what I do is called supreme mathematics, and that the
Yes, sir.
universal language is mathematics. And in fact, if you look at the music that is now coming out of our radios in our communities, the degree of the frequency is 44 degrees, which is a very destructive frequency. Okay, where the degree of 1150 is the number of healing, things of that nature. So each of these frequencies, and people don't understand it. So when they see this show, when they see a TV series or hear a radio show, frequencies are going out into the air that allows them to tune in to hear it. So there's a whole lot, but because you can't taste it, you can't feel it, you
Right.
can't see it, don't mean it don't exist. So
Yeah.
the thing about the possible astral travel and whatnot means a lot. But so I don't leave Libra out with their health. They'll find that March and July, followed by September and December, will be important. And it's very important. So I'm halfway through the sign, so it shouldn't take me too long to. I'm just going to wrap up the other Scorpios and Capricorns and Aquarians and Pisces, and then we continue. But for Scorpios, this particular year, for them is about endings, conclusions, to let bygones be bygones, to let there be water under the bridge, that Okay, this is how it is. You put it to the side and you keep moving forward and not moving back. Sometimes this is difficult because Scorpio is a water sign. So they could be into what is called their feelings, their emotions. But this year, they're going to have to learn how to, whatever the feeling or emotion is, to learn how to step away and detach or become stoic, as they say, in terms of how they do things. They'll find that the months financially, that January is going to open up with strong possibilities, as well as the month of May and June, April and October. As far as relationships are concerned, which is very important, they're going to find that February, June, August, and November, the months equally so for starting one, breaking up one, whatever the case may be. And if you look at it in terms of travel, January is going to be very possible, especially long distance trips and places new. May and July, also followed by September and October. Health wise, they're going to have to be a little mindful around April, May, and the month of September in and of itself. So we get into Sagittarius, all right? Now, anybody, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Sagittarius, or if you're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, this year, the theme for all Sagittarians and number three persons is about expansion because it is governed by the planet of Jupiter, the good luck planet, the planet of expansion, the things where things begin to open up and blossom for them. When Jupiter is entering any cycle in a person's chart, it gives them a time to see the fruits of their labor. That no matter how much they worked on it, no matter how much they structured it will give them a chance to really explore all the possibilities of their potentials if they do that. They'll find that financially, February and March is going to open up very well for them, followed by the month of May, July, November, and December. So financially, Sagittarians are going to have 6 months of possibilities to increase their financial standings, their job potentials, their career possibilities, or even step it on faith, depending, especially in the month of July. As far as relationships are concerned, that's in March and May, followed by August and December as well. Now, as far as travel is concerned, and Sagittarians love to go to foreign countries, they deal with foreigners, foreign languages, they will find that the months of February, April, followed by June and July and November, their best possibilities. And then for health concerns, and when I say it's not bad, it's just staying on top of things. If you're in the funk, check it out. The beauty of women, if you notice 19 keys, the slightest things that happen to women, they go to a doctor like ASAP. We guys, we wait, and then we want to call on the high heavens to come and save us. Okay, so
Well,
what I'm
not
saying,
to cut your wisdom, though, part of the reason that is because women are more connected to cycles, of course. So
definitely,
women are forced to be more in tune with their body than men because every single month, right, they bleed, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
they have to, and then when they bleed, they get to literally see their blood, right? And by that, they're judging themselves, right? But what's going on inside them because there is a discharge, if you will, there is a flow to it. So even
hmm
though men go through cycles, these cycles are more chemical, right? We don't get to see a physical representation of that, right? As if we urinated and our pee changed a different color, then we'd be like,
yeah,
wait a minute, what's going
yeah,
on?
yeah,
Right? But they're connected to the metatonic cycle of the moon. So therefore, they operate in a rhythm of 13 every single year, right? Even though man's world operates in a 12. So
yeah.
they're more in tune, right, with their biological clock than men are, unless something physical happens or an ailment. And then we go when it's too late, but they're constantly staying in alignment.
Yeah, because the mate will ask us, honey, how we doing? We say, fine. In good well, we not fine, but those things make sense. But health wise, they're going to find that for Sagittarians, that the month of January, followed by March, followed by the month of October and December are going to be the health months of their concerns. So, what about Capricorns? If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Capricorn, or if you're born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th of the month, the theme for this sign and people under these dates is the business of business. Capricorn is the business sign anyway. All the historians are coming under the signs because 8 rules ancestry. Capricorn rules ancestry because it's governed by the planet of Saturn. So if all the Capricorns are entering with this kind of business minded mindset, I'm going to handle my business. I'm going to take care of business, however they want to put it. That is going to be the theme for them this particular year. The Capricorns at number 8, people are going to be doing a lot of growing up. Not that they're not adults already, but they grow up philosophically. They grow up through life's experiences. They begin to see what part they've been playing on life stage in that sense. You know what I'm saying? 19 keys.
Sure.
They will find that financially that the months of February followed by June and July, September and November are going to be the best times for them. As far as relationships are concerned, normally they're kind of picky. And normally with Capricorns and number 8, they feel more comfortable with relationships that are slightly older than they are. Where because 8 is a very mature energy, Capricorns are very mature energy as well as the planet of Saturn. And so relationship wise, they're going to find that the months of March, followed by July, followed by September and December more important. So like Virgos, Capricorns kind of like to stay close to home. But this year offers them, in fact, they've got 6 months of travel opportunities, beginning in their birthday month of January, followed by February, followed by June, followed by August, October, and November would be the best time for them to make their moves. And as far as their health is concerned, January, May, July, especially because that's their opposition sign of the year, followed by October would be the months in which they need to be on point about that. And it's so interesting because the signs that tend to be misdiagnosed more than any others are Capricorns and Aquarius. And so, speaking of that, if your sun or moon or ascendant is in the sign of Aquarius, or if you're born on the 4th or the 13th or the 22nd or the 31st of the month, the theme this year for all occurring is to be structured, to have a sense of order, a sense of purpose, a blueprint, so to speak. Just don't go out there on the fly. This is not going to work this year. And 4s and Aquarius can be very spontaneous. That's why 4 and the sign of Aquarius are called secret enemies, because they're very unconventional in their approach. This is why, and the secret enemy, because people are either jealous of them, envious of them, or insecure with them. So I thought it was interesting one day when I was watching you do a live on one of the platforms where you talk about how the churches don't respond to you. But I'm kind of not surprised because you're not conventional, my brother.
Right,
You're
right.
kind of visionary.
Yeah, I'm chopping stuff.
Exactly. So, but there are money opportunities, a very, very potential for number 4s and Jim and Aquarius, which is in the months of January and February, followed by April and June, followed by October and the month of November. 6 financial months indicates. So people going on tours or traveling events or things like they wish to promote, this will be the ideal months for them to do so. As far as relationships, and we tend to be, and I say we because I'm an Aquarius, relationship, we tend to have odd and unusual relationships at times, but February, followed by April, followed by July, followed by the month of November will be our ideal months for relationships. As far as travel is concerned, well, January, March, followed by May, June, October, and December. So not only will they have 6 months as it relates to monies, but 6 months as it relates to travel as well. And finally, for the health, because we'll find that the month of February, the birthday month of a number 4s and Aquarians, or May, September, and November being the more interesting months. But number 8s and number 4s, right next to Capricorn and Aquarians, they are the 2 signs, and those are the numbers that tend to be misdiagnosed. But interesting, the key to the health is right here in the mind. In the mind, it's just that simple. And so for those that get depressed, especially Capricorns, Aquarians, or 8s and 4s, stop watching TV. Because by the time you hear everything on TV, and then they got all the drug commercials in between there, man, you gonna try to find something to get sick over. Okay, so what I'm saying is to kind of just back off, and especially if it's something sudden, unusual, like a sudden breakup, a sudden loss, a certain termination on your job could throw them off center if they're not prepared. And finally, for Pisces, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Pisces, or again, if they're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, the theme for you this particular year for 2025 is about imagination. Now, Pisces is ruled by the newer planet called Neptune, which deals with emotions, illusions, and delusions, and things like that. In fact, Hollywood is ruled by the planet of Neptune. And so, as you see, they make movies of all kinds of things, and it's all illusionary. So, all these TV shows, all that is Neptunian. But the fact of putting your imagination to best use, to not just imagine the worst, but imagine the best. Being creative, expressive, expansive, imaginative, being able to articulate your feelings and putting them down, to add a sense of humor to the way you do things, but not get caught up in imagining that are more negative, imagining that's more positive. There was a saying I heard that it's you can, the fact of one thing can be something, but your imagination could be the worst, and that may not be the fact. So they have to keep not get too far out with their over imagining the worst. A lot of times when people are not feeling well, if they're really sick, they're imagine, well, oh man, I must really have something, when it's really no big deal. They just got to get in there and see what's going on. But
Hmm.
the imagination will play a very important part. As far as monies are concerned, Pisces are going to open up with the months of February and March, their birthday month, followed by May and July being the best months for them, as well as the month of November as well. As far as relationships are concerned, they're going to find that the months of March, their birthday month, May, August, and December being equally beneficial to them as well. And as far as health checkups, if you feel the need to go get an annual, go get a regular checkup, they'll find that January, March, June, followed by October and December are the best times to do it. So that way we cover all the signs, all the numbers, and we can cover those that's in the room if you want in the chat room. It'll be my pleasure.
First of all, thank you. Definitely. It's funny because you could easily replace astrological signs with numbers.
Yeah, because they're all correlated. As you said,
Right.
everything is related.
So as you think about your number, right? You think about your sign. It's really saying things. There's multiple language to say, right? The same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
go by astrology of, oh, I'm a Taurus, or somebody goes and I was born, right, in the time of spring, right, the time of renewal, or I was
Mm-hmm.
born